All right, guys, it's still Africa Business Radio. Winston and Rachel are still here with you. No, we haven't left. And now we're about to get into our interesting guest conversation.
That's right. You know what? Forget everything we said in the headlines. You can't forget it. It's the reality of what's going on in Nigeria and in some parts of Africa. But Africa is still, closely watched as the next big growth market. Whatever is happening right now, we still have that goal in mind. The continent is the home of some of the youngest population in the world. And what does that tell you? Major consumption market, right? Absolutely. And for a whole lot of other countries, even though we haven't fully understood how to harness what we have. We have a lot of persons buying from us and taking from us, and we're not realizing how much we're giving out, right?
Absolutely. And I think that's just because we as young people have not come together, like I always say, to do more, because our leaders are not representing us right. I mean, recently we had X-rayed something that tends to be an attack on the tech industry in Nigeria by the Nigerian government. It looks like they just keep trying to frustrate the tech industry because they don't understand it, like some people have said. And that's just ridiculous. So as young people, we must come together to resist stuff like this, and only then can we achieve what you've just said.
Right. And a lot of persons would still disagree with you, Winston. They would say, the government is just trying to regulate this guys.
What?
And then I was having this conversation with someone over the weekend, and he said a lot of, you're talking about the fintech companies now that had to deregulation and all of that.
No,
a lot of this,
crypto.
not just that one, not the fintech company alone, but the latest move was that of the fintech companies and how the government had to, is kind of moving against them somewhat. And it's not surprising because we are seeing a lot of these guys being shut down. People's money is being, and people are really crying because of that. Well, that aside, technology has done so much for businesses. We cannot deny that. And on our guest segment today, we'll be talking how technology is helping African businesses navigate difficult landscape. I've got someone very, very interesting joining me for conversations. He is Erondu Nonso, also known as the Cyber King.
I love that.
That's right.
Okay.
He's a full-stack developer, and he's also the CEO of Tekxus Communications. Hello, Nonso. Good morning, and thank you so much for joining us this morning. You might want to unmute so you can, Good morning, Nonso. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Ray. Thanks. First of all, I'd like to say thanks for giving me the opportunity to be on the platform with you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I'm excited.
Absolutely. We are excited to have you.
It's going to be a wonderful ride, trust me. All right. So there's a whole lot of optimism around technology, the role that it's currently playing, and the role that it will still play in the future, in the performance of businesses. But just to drive this conversation now, of course, we'll get to the huge gap that's still staring us in the face when it comes to tech. But let's talk about where we used to be and where we are now in terms of how technology has changed the way that businesses operate.
All right. Thank you. Technology has been around for thousands of years. In fact, the earliest recorded technological invention dates back to about, say, 1.6 million years ago. And in this era, which is the Stone Age, where you find implementations or inventions such as the stone hammers and tools, technological tools for chopping blocks, and as well as for chopping foods and animals. And technology spans across, well, as we all know, technology spans across every aspect and walks of our daily life. Then, where we find ourselves today is in the modern age technology. At least we know where we're coming from, which is the Stone Age technology. We currently have moved into the modern age technology, which started in the late 1980s. Right. This gave birth to the era of the information age. The information age revolves around the need to process data using computers. And this data includes a blend of human activities as well as human interaction. Human interaction tools and algorithms that helps us. Tools and algorithms that helps us to make better business decisions. In our today's economy, we've moved forward that from the information age into where we're at today. We are currently at an era where we are not just trying to process data, but this time around we're trying to see how we can use these machines and computer aid us in processing data into efficiency and speed that's in our business process, trying to achieve speed in what we do in our business processes of today.
Right.
And in this time around, it's also ensuring face-to-face communications. We've moved to an era where businesses want to, take themselves onto the face of their desired audience, also giving businesses control of everything that has to do with the technological infrastructure. Before now, we've had this control in the hands of the big drivers of the economy. Now it has watered down to the hands of even the small business owner. And also there's a projection that in the next coming years, businesses should start to own their technological infrastructures and implementations, because we are moving to an era where it has the big companies, if you rely on them so much, they get to control what you can actually do and give out to your audience.
Interesting. And you know what? I think the thing about technology now is it comes with a whole lot of change. I mean, look at what happened. Disruption. Look at what happened last year. A lot of businesses had to totally change their entire process just to stay afloat. Yeah. So it comes with changes, which can be either good or bad, depending on how ready that business is at that time. Which brings me to my next question now. How can businesses adapt to these changes so they're not left behind?
All right. So the business world is often hit by these technological changes, or it's often hit by a boom, which leads to a lot of technological restructuring, because they can result in a complete renovation of the process or even an entire industry. But how can businesses adapt to these changes so as not to be left behind? First of all, every business should pay attention to their research and development thing. This is first and foremost. Then if you're a sole proprietor, you should be your own research and development expert. Let's look at the coronavirus that came in the year 2020. Google released a policy to let all their staffs work from home until sometime this year in June. So they released a policy to allow all their staff work and earn still their what they take home at the end of the month from their home. Then schools started to adapt to their classes. They started taking their classes online. There's this clothing business in the US that's launched. That's usually they have this day-to-day one-on-one appointment for top celebrities. They come around to book, to take measurements and also book their clothes. Then they'll get a delivery date for their clothes. So this business, they had to take this one-on-one section, this one-on-one conversation into the online platform. They started using video call to fit their customers, to get their customers' requests. So, and it even became more profitable for them for a clothing business in the US. Then, I would say, first of all, always update your policy. Always update your policy to fit the global trend. I'm talking to businesses.
Right.
Always update your policies to fit the global trend. Secondly, always encourage a more modernized way of attending to your customers. A more modernized way of attending to your customers. Then thirdly, always encourage a more modernized way of servicing your staffs. Because for a business, for instance, let's look at the health sector. Right. One of the mistakes we make in the African countries is the fact that the health sector pays so much attention on that's the drivers of the organizations. They pay so much attention on the client. the people that come for health checkups and all of that, rather than paying so much attention on the staff that drives, which are the driver of the process. So if you're able to keep your trends that updated, pay so much attention to your customer as well as your staff, you'll be able to you'll be able to keep updated with the trend of how to keep servicing, these three chains together. And once you're updated, if there is a boom or there's a hit that it comes around to restructure the way things are being done, you'll be able to, because you're you're updated, you'll be able to use what's existing to adapt to that trend and to that change.
Right, fantastic. So similarly, but on a broader note now, Africa, we know Africa is, way behind, when it comes to technological advancement. And this is not to say that we don't have the brains or the talent or, young people who are pretty much very illustrious and trying to change things, but maybe we don't have the best environment and the most supportive government. So the technological gap is definitely there, and is one of the major reasons why we are where we are economically, politically, and everything else, right? Because I said to Rachel sometime last week, that how, it's amazing what technology could do to Nigeria's economy in the next 5 years. So we're making projections for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, agriculture, all this good stuff. But tech can transform Nigeria in just 5 years. Yeah. Do you understand? So,
yes.
Yeah, exactly. So, a lot of other regions are developing and investing so much in technology. However, Africa is just where Africa is. So what role do you think policies are playing in bridging this gap, for just, or even widening the gap, as a matter of fact? What roles do you think policies could play to bridge this gap, that Africa has right now as far as technology is concerned?
All right, thanks a lot for that question.
Yeah.
Policies in general, they have a major role, right? A major role, just the same way they affect the regular businesses. Policies have a way of changing the technological point of view or the technological activities of a particular region as well as the globe in large. Policies, but however, businesses and companies must always continue to adapt and find ways to ensure that they continue to make profits, and they also ensure continuity in what they do. One of the policies that have hit Nigeria in the past, let's even look at the one that happened recently, which is sometime in the month of February this year, where a new regulation was released, which says that the financial institutions shouldn't allow the processing of purchases as transactions that involve cryptocurrency. Yeah. So this, as a result of this, there were a lot of advantages and there were a lot of disadvantages. One of the major advantages that came as a result of this was it got to increase the knowledge skill. It got to make people more aware of the cryptocurrency. It got more people aware. It got more people involved in the cryptocurrency, because if policies is released to regulate it and come up, there should be something that is worth knowing
about it. Yes.
In this regard, then one of the disadvantages is the fact that it affected platforms that were already running, that had their transactions, like they were already doing business with the cryptocurrency. However, one of the things, these platforms, they started to adopt new ways and new strategies to tackle the challenge, which even led to, at least in the IT space, this led to even more opportunities in the Nigerian crypto market. So policies will come, policies will go. One of the things I've gotten to understand about policies, at least in my previous years and experience, is the fact that policies, they come in two ways. One is to protect the citizens, and secondly is to find a way to understand a certain area research wants to be poured into a certain area before they now allow it to be used. One of the ways is to also a lot of projections will be done into the future to protect certain areas. Then, to an extent or to a small extent, it might be for some political reasons. However, businesses must always be ready to adapt, because it's either you're a driver in the economy or you're following the trend in the economy. If you're a driver in the economy, it means to an extent you will not be when the policies change and it goes against your people, you'll easily find it, you'll easily be able to adapt. But if you're following the trend in the business, it means you just have to look for ways to adapt to these policies. That's why it's good for you to, when you're putting a business together, it's good for your business to be global, to have that global perspective.
Right.
If not, if you restrict it to just your niche and where you're operating, you'll be very, very limited. In short, you can get out of business when certain things like policies hits the market.
Right. Okay, so let's talk about startups now, right? I mean, tech looks very interesting. It's something, I mean, just like you said, policies also give it like press. So whether it's bad press or good press, a lot more people are curious. They want to understand, how this works. Some people are trying to venture into it, and some people are trying to invest. Just even people without tech backgrounds just want to get into it and see how to, contribute to the fast-growing budding tech industry in Nigeria. So for startups, there's always the question of how much one should invest or spend to pretty much set up, especially investing in technology, and then you also want to consider how much profit you could be making against how much you're investing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so what should people consider when making these choices or these decisions? If you wanted to say do a tech startup, what should people consider before making these decisions? Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Well, there's really not much to dwell on in this topic. It's so simple. It's as simple as there are two things. When you're about to venture into a tech business or a business in general, there are two currencies you spend. The first currency is time, and the second currency is money. Now, every business or every individual entrepreneur should spend more time when planning. You should spend over 90% of your time planning. Planning involves it cuts across operations to the model in terms of the profit making. Then secondly, spend more money when executing, because one of the issues we have in Africa in general is the fact that we tend to spend with respect to budget. When I mean budget is we don't get to understand the market, understand what it takes first. That's why it's good to spend more time planning. We don't get to understand the market before we place a value with respect to money, our finance.
Right.
So two things: spend more time in planning, then spend more money in executing. Because after that, during your planning phase, you'll get to outline your profit model, and you know that businesses in the first year you get to try out a lot of things before you eventually find out a model or stick to a model that generates income for you. So I'll just say spend more time in planning and spend more money in executing.
Well, that's a whole lot of work, though. But I mean, you need to work to get all this thing started. And when we talk about investing in technology, advancement in technology, it comes with an advancement in cyber insecurity and cyber crimes as well. So as much as these guys, the startups, are preparing to incorporate technology in their operations, they also have to plan for cases of insecurity or how to be much more secure, right? So how do they go about this at the same time while they're also trying to plan how much to put into technology?
Okay. The what you don't know. In a case like this, what you don't know, you pay for it. In other words, the fact that you don't know how to plait hair or to braid your hair, you have to pay someone that knows how to do it to get it done for you. In this case, first of all, you have to educate yourself in two ways. There is a generic security education where you get to understand security implications in running an IT-based infrastructure. Then, an IT-based infrastructure. Infrastructure includes the online and offline platforms, which ranges from the mobile, desktop, softwares, and applications. It could all be offline. Also includes the attendance software when you get it that you put in your company to track when your staffs come to work. There's a lot of IT-based infrastructures. Then there's the specific security education where you look at what you're doing and specifically that's look at what you're doing, the niche you're covering, that's your target audience. Then specifically learn the security implications that covers what you're doing. So these are two ways. And if you don't, understand this, every CEO, every founder, every driver of a business should first of all spend some time to understand, to educate themselves on the security implications. If you don't understand it, one of the issues is the fact that you'll get to have issues of relying on the knowledge of who you're working with. And if you rely on the knowledge and the expertise of who you're working with, if you're being offered something that is not specific to what you're doing and to what you're running, then you're going to run into security issues in the course of time. And these security implications include policies, because for every country you serve your product, they have policies that govern how you should interact with the people that your users from those countries. So they include policies. They also include data integrity. They include data breach. And one of the things that Facebook has been paying for the past couple of years is the fact that there's been a lot of reports on data integrity or data integrity, how they handle our data. And this is because in some of the countries where they have their platform running and they have acquire users from, there are policies that govern how the users the citizens, their data should be used and handled. We also have data breach. We have hacking. We have so basically these are some security implications. Hacking spans across a lot of reach. Where if you don't understand, because these days we find even the commoners, that the people that are not quite tech savvy, they found ways and means to even break into people's data, get people's financial records.
True.
But if you're able to understand the background, you're able to have this standpoint of knowledge where you get to understand why certain things can occur or certain things can why certain things can occur. You get to give yourself a broader overview and of being able to protect your infrastructures with respect to security. So first of all, one keyword is education. You have to educate yourself before you venture into security.
All right, that's interesting. Now, let's talk about Erondu Nonso. Let's talk about Tekxus Communications. And, of course, some of the infrastructures that you've created to increase workforce productivity. Tell us more about it.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'm always excited when I talk about some of the things I've done in the past.
Absolutely. Can imagine. I'll
take 3 infrastructures that I've worked. I've worked on over 100 platforms and over 100 infrastructures over the past couple of 7 to 8 years. I've been very, very hands-on. I've always given at least quite numbers of hours of my time on a daily basis for IT infrastructures. In the year 2018, I worked on an enterprise resource planning system for one of the biggest malls in Akwa Ibom. So I had the opportunity to delve into several fields, several works, because this project involved this company. They had about 3 to 4 sub businesses within the parent company in Akwa Ibom, that's Akwa Ibom, Nigeria. So they wanted a way to merge, because they have an administrative block, then they have a supermarket, they have a mall, they have just a small mall, they have a supermarket, they have a poultry, they have a farm, and they have a bar and a restaurant. So they wanted a way to manage all the activities happening across these sectors from the administrative block. Prior to then, there was a lot of paperwork where they used Excel to move data across.
Hello, are you there?
So,
okay.
Yes, I am. Sorry for the interruption. Where they move data across. So, I came in. One of the things, one of the activities I engaged in was being able to, understand their operations across this sub company, then also being able to, come up with an infrastructure. Just one infrastructure base where we got to bring in or marry all these activities, one platform. So some of the activities I engaged in was, building a document manager for them, building an employee self-service platform for them, a platform where their employees can actually handle everything that involves ensuring their employees working healthy in the company. Then building a project manager for them to plan all the projects they have with respect to milestones. Then also build a sales platform for them to marry all the activities happening in their mall and their store, as well as an accounting platform that manages the payments of staffs, the manages everything that has to do with finance, the inflow of finance into the company. It was a project that lasted for somewhere about 1 year and 3 to 4 months. It took quite that amount of time.
Wow.
Then I've also worked for a new company that started in late 2019 into 2020, which is the Invest, a platform that helps people, manages portfolios for people. In other words, when you have spare money, you get to invest your money, and they use your money to invest into. They use your money to invest into poultry businesses. And they promise you some levels of returns that, depending on when your investment has appreciated and is right. That's when the company, what they invested your money in, has started to mature. Yeah. So this was a project that lasted for somewhere around 6 to 8 months, and in about 6 months, they grew their investment portfolio to about over 100 million in about 6 months. So it was very, very profitable for them. Then, currently I work for a US organization, a Nigerian US based organization, where I've been managing their IT infrastructure for the past 2 years now and running. So one of the things we do there is server management, data integrity, mobile app management, mobile app across the Android and iOS platform. And we also have currently we render software as a service that's building softwares and branding for companies. So I'll just stick to these three.
All right. Okay. That's a whole lot, really. That's amazing stuff you're doing.
Amazing stuff, man. Great wealth of experience as well. So yeah, finally, before we go, what's the drive behind movement Newbie to Techie, and how can interested persons be a part of this?
The drive for Newbie to Techie. By the way, on the 14th of April, which is Wednesday, by 8 p.m., we'll officially start the webinar series for Newbie to Techie. Now, the drive for Newbie to Techie, as you all know, I've been in the IT game. I've been in the IT system for the past couple of, say, 7 to 8 years, gathering experience and working in various sectors of business. I've had the opportunity to learn. I've had the opportunity to grow. I've also had the opportunity to get insights. And looking at my background, looking at where I'm coming from, looking at the fact that I studied industrial chemistry from the university, looking at the fact that I had to venture into this aspect. I had to venture into IT as a result of passion, as a result of career, as a result of trend, as a result of understanding the fact that we are currently moving into the age where every business must have an IT, an IT inclined project, or every business must run on IT. The struggles, the challenges I faced in getting into this aspect of IT, and how everything I've gotten to learn and enjoy as a result of my growth, because I've had an exponential growth in the IT world, which is really unusual. Most of it based on the fact that I have worked for a lot of sectors. I've worked for a lot of business intelligence team. That's with a lot of business intelligence team in the country and as well as out of the country. That's in Nigeria as well as in other parts of the country. So what's my drive behind the Newbie to Techie? Newbie to Techie is focused on students as well as the business owners. Also, the people that if you have a 9-to-5 job and you're looking for ways to, earn extra income as well as, venture into the IT world. It could be for career sake. It could be for profit sake to increase your standards of living at the moment. So the drive behind Newbie to Techie is to give you the best way, the best and the simplest of ways to come into this field, to see how the beauty behind this field from a global standpoint. Because I'll be giving you a global perspective of the IT. I'll help you to understand IT even down to its grassroots. I'll help you to, I'll be breaking down. I won't just be talking about the benefits. I'll be going deep into the intricacy and helping you understand how easy it is to venture into IT. Then I would be cutting across how you can, profit, how you can scale, how you can generate a lot of that, you can get a lot of clients, how you can, grow and start a career path in this Newbie to Techie series. For you to be a part of it, for you to join in the webinar series, which is holding on Wednesday by 8 p.m., it's so easy. Visit www.thecyberking.tekxus.com. When you visit www.thecyberking.tekxus.com, you'll see the form to register. And once you fill the form, you get the opportunity to join my inner circle, where I'll get to be talking to you directly. So thank you very much. I'll see you in the webinar series.
All right, so I guess we'll have to wrap up that conversation at this point. Sadly, well, it's been an interesting one with Nonso Erondu. We've been talking about the role that technology has been playing in driving businesses across Africa, and he is doing a whole lot of amazing stuff there. Stay with us.
Stay here.